Okay, so what just happened was we got stuck. So hello. So what you're about to see is quite possibly the most realistic test of the Bronco Raptor that you're likely to see on the internet, because you've seen it go off-road, you've seen all the amazing things the Bronco Raptor can do, but like, has anyone lived with one? Well, we're about to live with one, because every year I go on a guy's trip with my two best friends from back in the day, high school times. My two best friends in the world, we go on a guy's trip. And this year we're going to Nashville. And so I reached out to some of my contacts out there, different brands, and I said, hey, I'm thinking about going on a guy's trip with two of my best friends. Does anyone have a car that might fit, you know, a guy's trip kind of vibe? And Ford hit me back and they said, this sounds like a job for the Bronco Raptor. And I'm inclined to agree. So what follows is 3 middle-aged men taking a Bronco Raptor on a guy's trip from Atlanta to Nashville, and possibly also including a little of that off-roading I mentioned. Yeah, we gotta film.
That's a lot of mud.
Take a bucket of mud and just...
Although it looks like it on this side, I feel like the mud on the other side is better.
Both of those glorious.
That is a sloppy tire.
Billy, one of my oldest friends, what are your first thoughts of the Bronco Raptor?
I think it'll look sharp, man. Looking forward to the trip and all the adventures that we're about to go on, see how this thing handles.
Yeah, 4 hours in it. We're definitely going to see, can you use it like an everyday vehicle?
Indeed.
Am I nervous?
No.
Not at all. That's a lie.
It's 100% a lie.
He was very nervous. He was very tense that entire time.
Billy, best part of the Bronco Raptor?
Leaving.
Off-road experience, how was it?
It was great. Yeah.
Were you afraid of getting stuck?
There was one spot that was a bit tricky, but it handled it perfectly. Got us out of there with just a little bit of effort.
Whose fault was it getting stuck?
Totally the driver.
Yeah.
User error all the way through.
That guy sucks.
Totally.
Get out from here.
And I quit. I quit this job. Not even getting paid for this.
So of course the thing that you notice first about the Ford Bronco Raptor is the styling, particularly the width, okay? This thing is crazy wide. It's over 10 inches wider in its sort of track than the regular Bronco. And with the fenders and everything, that translates to basically a full foot wider than the regular sort of standard width Bronco. And personally, I think it makes the Bronco Raptor look phenomenal. On these 37-inch tires with the increased track width, the Bronco, I mean, it gets looks wherever it goes. The Bronco is an amazing looking vehicle. I mean, well, the Bronco's an amazing looking vehicle to begin with. I mean, the Ford Bronco looks awesome. I think we all agree that the Ford Bronco looks awesome. But in Raptor trim, this sort of ultimate version of the Ford Bronco, I mean, I couldn't stop staring at it. Megan loved it, my friends loved it, everybody loves the way that this thing looks. Now, In day-to-day usage, is it the most practical vehicle in the world? No. I'll give you a really quick example about how the amazing style of the Bronco Raptor can be a little bit of a liability. This thing is filthy from us taking it off-roading, and I'm gonna do a little cleaning up before I hand it back over to Ford, you know, because I'm a nice guy. And I was thinking about going through a car wash or something. I'm like, this thing won't fit in a car wash. Like, the only way to get this thing cleaned up is to, you know, power hose it down at maybe one of those drive-in car washes and then finish the job in your driveway, which is fine. You know, we're all enthusiasts, but just keep in mind that this thing is not easy to navigate sometimes in tight spaces, such as picking up my friends from the airport. But all in all, the Bronco Raptor is a phenomenal, fantastic, amazing looking truck. Just be prepared to get a lot of stares wherever you go. Maybe not all of them pleasant.
So, Jack, how do you feel about these roads? Confident?
This is pretty
cool,
great.
collected?
Yeah, no, I mean, other than, you know, wheeling a big vehicle, it's not yours through some treacherous terrain, and Billy's taking care of this tree that has apparently collapsed in the road. He's just gonna take the whole tree
And put it directly in the
put
road.
it directly into the road. It'll just put it in the path of the Raptor, it's fine. Yeah, no, this thing has still not been phased, and we've gone over some cooler stuff. Hopefully that's being translated on camera. I would say, is this living up to a good guy's trip experience?
No, this sucks, man.
Okay. We could have driven forward and picked him up, but we didn't, because we wanted to watch him walk back in humiliation.
I'm really appreciating the Billy out of breath getting back into the car, trying to buckle his seatbelt
Constantly in and out.
I know,
constantly in and
right?
out. In
Go run up
service-
that hill. Go
in
bend
service
down.
of the video, right?
Get
In
that
service
shot.
of the video. Billy, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. Don't get the car dirty.
Easy.
Now, of course, under the hood of the Bronco Raptor is a 3-liter twin-turbo V6, making 418 horsepower and 440 pound-feet of torque, and that's running through a 10-speed automatic, and of course, it's hitting the ground via 4-wheel drive. We're going to talk more about that in a second, because this thing's capabilities are insane. So I'm going to give you a quick breakdown, you know, in a minute. But overall, this thing doesn't feel as fast as you might think it does. It is fast enough to get out of its own way, for sure, but this thing weighs like 5,800 pounds. It weighs an absolute ton. It actually weighs several tons. It actually weighs several tons and a half. So there is a lot of weight that 440 pound-feet of torque is pushing around. So it might surprise you to be like, the Bronco Raptor is a quick SUV, but it's definitely not one of those crazy, barnstorming, insanely powerful SUVs. Now, off-road, when we took it off-road, is the power sort of noticeable because, you know, you're going up hills and grades and you need that torque and stuff? Oh, absolutely. You're never wanting for power off-road. When you're going slowly in 4 high or 4 low or crawl control or whatever, having that torque is what really matters. So out on the highway, it's fast and loud and cool, but off-road, it's plenty. It's a wealth of power when you need it.
Get the camera on me. I'm the star.
How do you feel about your very first mudding?
Not my first, but
Oh, it's your first. I saw your nervousness.
almost was the last. Can't put that in, but that was good. That was good. So mainly so far, mix of rocks, mud, water crossings and stuff like that. Still in 4 highs, still with the rear locker engaged. We've left Billy somewhere in the woods. He just doesn't know it yet.
So now let's talk about this thing's off-road capabilities for just a second, because we obviously have footage of us doing all the off-road things, but we want to talk about what this thing can do in case you're wondering about the specs. So these are 37-inch BF Goodrich KO2 off-road tires, so great starting point for going off-road. Behind those, you have adjustable Fox shocks, which have an internal bypass and an external reservoir, and they feature their live valve technology, so you can go jumping over sand dunes in this thing without shaking itself to pieces, which is phenomenal. Those things worked amazingly well. It's switching between modes and everything with the GOAT mode dial or the custom buttons on the steering wheel is super easy and very accessible. Obviously, you have two-wheel drive, you have 4 high, you have 4 low, you have a 4 automatic, but you also have front and rear lockers. You have a disconnecting sway bar, and the track, as I mentioned, is 10 inches wider than it is on a stock Ford Bronco. The GOAT modes give you quick access to all of your off-road kind of versions, right? So you have your like Baja mode, you have your rock crawling mode, you have your slippery mode, off-road mode, sport mode. You have all the different modes in GOAT mode, but you also have a custom preference mode in case there's something that you want to dial in that you would do that's not pre-programmed into the Bronco Raptor. It has reinforced B pillars and C pillars for added rigidity because this thing is an open-top vehicle and it can do insane things off-road. It also has reinforced suspension links and, I didn't mention, 13.1 inches of ground clearance. When we were taking it off-road, just for context, when we went off-road, we went over some pretty crazy stuff, some pretty deep ruts. We didn't even touch the bottom of this thing or the skid plates or anything on any of the stuff that we did off-roading. It didn't even touch, it didn't even scrape. There was no noise whatsoever. It just crawled over everything, mainly because your front approach and departure angles, which I'll put on screen, the front approach angle, the rear departure angle, they're some of the best of any mainstream vehicle on the market. And so that's a huge benefit when you are crawling over these things, especially on unfamiliar trails. There was a couple points where we were a little nervous, like, I mean, we're in a Bronco Raptor, but can it do these things? It could do them and more. Even the time that we almost got stuck.
Come on. Not in the mood for this, Jack. Just wanted to go for a ride, buddy. Just wanted to go for a ride.
All right, stop. I'm not feeling like I'm going on an outdoor adventure.
Right, neither do we. Right now, we feel like we're having to work. Can we just go?
We are working.
Guys,
This is why we came.
Guys trip, not one of your videos, buddy.
All right, I'm taking this and leaving.
Back inside the vehicle, it's as boring as ever.
All right, so we are here at Turkey Bay Off-Road Park in Kentucky, and we are going to put the Raptor through its paces. As you can see, this is the time of day when apparently everyone is arriving. First things first, we've never been here before. I have no idea what to expect. I have no idea where any of these trails go, and I have no idea what the Raptor is capable of. I think it's capable of quite a lot, but we're gonna put it through its paces, hopefully, and give you an idea of what this thing is like to live with, but also in its natural environment, which I'd say this is about as close to its natural environment as you can get. So hopefully this thing is very dirty by the time we leave, and we've had a good time. And if we haven't, I'm sure I'll hear about it from my friends. What just happened was, we got stuck.
We got stuck.
How do you feel about your very first mudding?
Not my first, but
Oh, it's your first. I saw your nervousness.
almost was the last.
It's not exactly comfortable in the backseat. It's very child-centric.
Quality mid-image here. Everybody looks like they're engaged.
And
Get that water! Get that water! Get that water! Yeah, get that splash!
shit. We might not want to have the windows open when we do that.
Get that splash! Get that old man!
In the vehicle.
Get that man with that dumb hat! Hello!
We also don't want to get the inside of the Bronco covered in mud.
sure this door's locked. Jack, what would you do without us?
I don't know. This review would be
This is an adventure. This is not a
turn for the
review.
worst. Yeah, the front view camera with the wheels. Yes, and very helpful for a sequence like that where you cannot see the front of the car. Now, when you go to 4 low, it brings up the trail cam, so that gives you a look at where you are pointed and where your wheels are pointed. And in some of these sequences where you cannot see the front of the car because you're facing sky, having an idea of where the tires are is incredibly helpful. Comes on automatically at 4 low, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's useful for people who don't know how to drive.
Yeah. You have no idea what you're doing.
Right, if you're a cheater.
Oh yeah, this whole vehicle is just one big cheat code. Because, I mean, to be clear, we do not have any idea what we're doing.
Just getting the backup camera.
Yeah, the cameras around this thing are pretty excellent. We got lots of different views, and that was crucial in the part that we allegedly almost got stuck in.
We just got a little slidey.
Yeah, and I think it is a good thing that the approach and departure angles on this vehicle are about as good as they get for a vehicle you can buy with a warranty. So we are using the hill descent control, trail control, whatever Ford's proprietary name for it is. I've got it set to 2 miles an hour. This is not like a difficult hill, but we just wanted to try it out, and it works super easy. One of the things that we have noticed about the Raptor is that it makes things about as idiot-proof as you could possibly imagine, which is good because the driver is, in fact, an idiot.
I'm really proud of you, Jack. It's a big step.
Admitting it is always the first step.
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
I mean, considering the drive up here, the highway ride of the Bronco is quite good, and then you get off road and you can see what all of the Bronco's insane. We're at 4 high right now, by the way. So in GOAT mode, off-road standard, we got 4 high. We've got the rear locker turned on, and I don't think we've even begun to scratch the surface of what this thing can do. Will we? Honestly, I don't know, because we've never been here and I don't know how crazy this is gonna get. We are all of us amazing. All amazing at this. You are absolutely right. That was brilliant.
Brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant navigation.
Sense of direction deactivated.
Yeah. Worried that the Bronco's width would be a liability, and so far it has not been that big of a deal. Although I say that as we're starting to get to a narrow section here.
I, for one, really enjoy how much we're bouncing around in this thing.
That's a deep one.
Yeah, that doesn't look good.
All right. Fuel, give me fire, give me double time desire. Back it up.
Yeah, I like that.
How's it look on the camera? Because we're gonna have to turn, and we're not.
Oh yeah, this
This seems great.
Raptor!
Yep, there you go. And then just back this way.
Yeah.
Going straight through the middle. And ease on the gas. There you go.
I think.
Yep.
Hard right.
Yep.
I mean hard left.
Yep.
Uh-oh. I can't make it hard left. This spot right here is, we got a rock behind us.
Is that what we're hitting?
Yeah, but let's see.
Can you go straight and then curve it? And then
Like
we'll,
back up that way?
We'll go this to the right, and then back up, and then we'll use the momentum to carry us across this way.
I don't know. I feel like we're almost there. Like with turning this way. You know? Yeah, he said, and that didn't work out at all.
Yep, just stay on the rocks.
I was gonna say, I think the rocks are giving us, no, there's something blocking us. Let's see. Should I see how close we can get to this and then back up?
I don't know, man.
There you go.
Okay, we gotta be careful though, because we don't have a lot of backup space and I don't have much control.
Yeah, you're sliding.
I have no control.
Yeah, but look how high we are now. Yeah. Yeah. Crank and crank, man. Go for it. Yeah, because I think this is what we want to do. We just want to get the front end around and point in that direction. Just like that, baby. There you go. There you go, Jackie.
Gotta be careful with these rocks up here though.
Yeah.
I don't have any.
You're good.
There you go. All right. Okay.
All right, guys, it's time for Raptor!
Raptor!
Okay, so what just happened was we got stuck. And it's no fault of the Raptors. We are in incredibly deep mud. We've got front and rear lockers. We got the 4 low, and the Raptor made it through. Am I nervous?
No.
Not at all.
That's a lie.
It's 100% a lie.
He was very nervous. He was very tense that entire time.
And we're gonna get out of here. We have reached our off-roading knowledge limits, I think. Guys, the lesson for today on the channel is know your limits.
This is what Jack looks like when he films himself.
This is exactly
This is
exactly what it looks like. So we definitely got into the muck of the Raptor. You could see it back here. The Raptor is completely covered in mud. You can see the Meta, Dave filming me, filming myself, and Billy there. We hear some other vehicles coming up the way, which I don't know if you encounter other vehicles along the route. I'm not exactly sure what to do, but these guys, that's what people are doing. He might have an easier time getting through what we just did than we did, but the Raptor is hanging tough on the trails. Let me show you a couple glamour shots of it.
can do it. Just carry the 1.
Yeah. If we find a 5 and follow that to D, we'll be kind of heading back south. There's this little point system. I mean, yeah, it shows which way is north. And if I turn it and we go, it looks like east-ish from where we are right now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, 4 lefts, and you will.
4 lefts, and we'll be posing here again in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, so we made it out of that deep mud pit thanks to the Bronco Raptor. I fully believe that if we were literally in almost any other vehicle, we were not going to get out of that pit. We had no idea what we were doing. We got in way over our heads, almost literally, and the Bronco Raptor eventually pulled us through. Also, the KO2 tires. I think that helped. All right, so Turkey Bay Off-Road Park, what an amazing time. This thing, oh my gosh, this thing, there's so much to talk about, and I don't want to go on about it. I'll cover some of the off-road capabilities in the other parts of the video if I haven't already, but this thing lived up to the expectations and then some. I mean, from almost getting stuck in a mud pit to going up and down, you know, extreme grades to kind of rock crawling, and minimal rock crawling, but we did a little bit. This thing handled literally everything we threw at it, and it provided us on a vacation with 2 of my best friends in the whole wide world with a great afternoon and a really good time. And I hope that also was communicated in that part of the video, mainly by the hard time they're always giving each other and me in particular. But I can't say enough good things about this thing's capability. I mean, if you have the inclination to take this thing off-roading and serious off-roading, this thing can handle it. I mean, just look at it. Look at like what we did to it. And this is the end of the day after we've kind of cleaned it up a little bit. But in the middle of the mud bog, this thing saved us and got us out. Front and rear lockers, disconnecting sway bars, 4 low. We used crawl control. We did all of the things and had an amazing time. So in addition to all of the real world uses and livability of the Bronco Raptor, when you actually put it in its natural environment, it's incredible. Bronco Raptor, thoughts?
I think that the Bronco Raptor is just a touch excessive. I think it's great, but it definitely is grande.
You're saying a normal human being does not need this kind of weaponry.
A normal human being would not be doing the things that we did today, no.
This is a good point.
Yeah, but today, this was purpose-built. It was great, man.
Absolutely.
It was fun.
So leaving the off-road park and now navigation is a good time to talk about the Raptor's on-road manners. And the on-road manners, you might be surprised to learn, are really good. You do get some jittering through the structure because this is an open top vehicle and it also is wearing the extreme KO2 off-road tires. But how it rides on the road and the highway in just normal mode like we're driving, it's incredibly comfortable. The steering is good. This wheel is insanely cool because it's like a big fat sport wheel with gigantic grips on it. Also has a little carbon fiber trim, which I'm assuming is real at the Raptor's over $80,000 as tested price. Good luck finding one at over $80,000. It's gonna be over $100,000 if you're lucky. But the Raptor's on-road manners, just to put this in perspective, we drove all the way from Atlanta to the airport to pick up Dave, from the airport up to Nashville, 4.5 hours. And then we drove an hour and a half up here to the off-road park. And now we're driving back to the Airbnb. And this is a very comfortable car on the highway, although rear seat room, less than ideal for full-size grown middle-aged men. But I don't think if you want to live with the Bronco Raptor, if you truly are going to have this as an only vehicle or something, I don't think that the way this thing drives in everyday driving is bad. Now, the one catch here is the fuel economy. The fuel economy in the Bronco Raptor is fairly awful. I don't think that's very surprising to anybody. I probably already mentioned this in the engine portion, but we're getting about 17 miles per gallon on the way up here on the highway, and off-roading just now, probably around 12 if we're lucky. So no matter what you do, don't expect to see more than 17 miles per gallon in the Raptor. But other than that, as a daily driving car, this thing is surprisingly accessible and livable. A little nervous about some of these blind corners where a side-by-side might leap out into your chill out there tree.
That and the mountain lion.
Yeah, you know, Kentucky bourbon-fueled mountain lions.
Now, here's where the Bronco Raptor's utility might surprise you or it might depress you, depending on how you're looking at this situation. The Bronco Raptor has 33 cubic feet of cargo space inside of here. Personally, I found that to be pretty good. Now, your main complaint against a sort of dedicated off-road vehicle like this is going to be the fact that the passenger space, the interior volume, is not quite as great as the exterior dimensions might suggest. And that's kind of true of most off-road dedicated vehicles. I would say for something that is really hardcore off-road and has a decent amount of passenger space, you're gonna max out something like a 4Runner really, but when you're looking at Wranglers and Broncos, that interior volume is gonna be somewhat compromised. Personally, I think for what it is, the 33 cubic feet of cargo space, which is expandable by folding down the rear seats, is pretty good. I mean, that's not bad. We had no trouble, 3 middle-aged men had no trouble packing all of their luggage and all of my filming gear and stuff inside of this thing and taking a 4.5-hour car ride to Nashville, where we are now. So if you want a road trip vehicle for a family, especially if you have young children, I'm not sure a Bronco Raptor is really what you're after. But if you're looking for something that, you're in our situation where your kids are getting older and one of them can drive and you don't need all that space, 33 cubic feet might be enough with the option of folding down the rear seats. So for our family and day-to-day use, and for my friends on our guys trip here, the 33 cubic feet is good enough in the Bronco Raptor. But I think that's gonna have to be a decision you make depending on your family's needs. Okay, so inside the Bronco Raptor, it's pretty much standard Bronco fare, with the exception of a few details. First and foremost, the steering wheel. The steering wheel is awesome. The steering wheel is big and fat, and it feels like something out of a sports car. It feels like something that's better than the steering wheel in the Mustang. Like this is out of a Ford GT or something. It's crazy, but it's a lot of fun. It really kind of like gives you that Bronco Raptor ridiculousness impression. Most of the materials in here are fine. They're standard Bronco fare. The problem is, though, when you get up to this thing's price. This thing has an MSRP of around $80,000 to $85,000 as, optioned out, but honestly, that's irrelevant because what's really happening is the dealer markups. The more dealer markups you have, I did a quick search in the Atlanta area, where I'm from, of Bronco Raptor prices, and ranging between $100,000, $120,000. I mean, an insane amount of money. So in terms of sort of interior quality and materials, that's gonna have to be a personal decision depending on how much money you wanna spend on this thing and what you wanna get for that money. Now, capability-wise, well, that's a different story. Obviously, you're getting insane capability, but if this is gonna be your daily and you're riding around in it, is it giving you that perception of luxury? I mean, it has Bang & Olufsen sound system. It's got the amazing sync system. I love Ford's sync system, and I love Ford's digital gauges. They're some of my favorite, to be honest with you. It's like a 10-inch infotainment screen running Sync 4 at this point or whatever, and it connects so quickly and so effortlessly. I really like its functionality, and the digital gauges are somewhat customizable, so you can cycle through different modes. You can read all of your information, especially all of your off-road modes. You can pull up the camera system. The camera system is great. It's got a good surround view system. It's got a great front camera monitor for when you're on the trails and you have to see where your tires are at. So like all in all, the electronics in here, I have nothing to complain about. I also think that if we had had the opportunity, we would have been able to remove, the panels and doors, but it was a little chilly and we were getting a little dirty, so we didn't do that. Another thing that you'll notice in here is that Ford has obviously thought ahead of what people will be doing with this vehicle, and so all of the surfaces can get wet. You've got a charger up here for phone or GoPro mounts. You've got pre-wired aux switches across the ceiling, which are super cool. And then all of your off-road modes, your GOAT modes here, your sway bar disconnect and lockers here, like everything is super accessible. And in terms of like ergonomics, I think the interior of the Bronco is pretty fantastic, honestly. I mean, I really like the interior of this thing. The seats, for long periods of time, pretty comfortable.
But is it super spacious for 3 full-size men? Well, let's get in the back and you can kind of see how I fit at 6'6". Okay, as per usual, I have not adjusted the front seat on this side. So this is where the seat would be for me, and I'm 6'6". Now, Megan likes to drive the same way I do, with her legs sort of stretched out. So I have the seat in the same position she would have the seat in. I know that's crazy, but it's true. It's just a fact about our family. That's how we drive. Because of that, I can't really fit behind myself. I could sort of wedge behind myself, but not easily. It's very difficult to fit behind myself. Now, if I move up the passenger seat a little bit, can I fit behind myself? Kind of. I can sort of get back there if I need to. So there's not a ton of space back here, and we did feel it slightly confining, okay? My friend Dave is about 6'1" and change, and Billy's like 5'9". So like we were able to fit, okay? Billy could sit behind here, he had some space. Dave could move the seat up, he had some space. I had my seat back. But if you have a tall family like ours and you were gonna go on a road trip in this, it's not gonna be the most pleasant place to be for the people in the back. Headroom is fine. You get a decent amount of headroom here. Obviously, you could take the roof off. But from an interior space standpoint, considering the size of this vehicle, because it is enormous, you don't get as much space as you might be expecting. I wasn't expecting a lot of space because I know, how kind of the off-road game works, and lifting all the components up means less space inside. But if you're thinking of the Bronco as a daily, especially a big one like this, you should be aware of that. Okay, so like I always say, should you buy a Ford Bronco Raptor? Well, here's the thing. This is a bit of a loaded question, mainly because Bronco Raptors, like so many other vehicles, are being heavily marked up, insanely marked up. Now, if it was me and I had the disposable income and I didn't necessarily need this as a daily driver, I absolutely love this thing. I am a huge fan of this thing. I think it looks the absolute business like this. I mean, this is such a cool looking vehicle with so much presence, but the fact that we took it off road, a bunch of middle-aged guys that weren't even sure what they were doing, and it pulled us through all of the obstacles. I mean, I would say in moderate to heavy, you guys that maybe are more hardcore off-roaders would be like, oh, well, you didn't go vertical over a giant boulder. Well, no, we didn't, but we did about as much as what most normal people would do in a semi-normal vehicle, and the Raptor pulled us through. So capability-wise, looks-wise, presence-wise, cool factor-wise, the Bronco Raptor is an absolutely amazing vehicle. The main drawbacks here are gonna be, how does it fit in your daily life, literally and figuratively? This thing will not fit in a garage. It wouldn't even come close to fitting in my garage, so there's that if that's a problem. There's also the price. Is this thing worth over $100,000 as you see it on the market? I would say that's a tough question. That's a tough sell, because for over $100,000, you're in very premium luxury territory. I know things like Range Rovers and stuff like that are capable of crazy stuff. Yeah, you wouldn't do that kind of stuff in a Range Rover. Would you do it in a Defender? Maybe, but would a Defender bring you back home? There's all those jokes. Wranglers, of course, the Wrangler 392 with the Hemi cost a crap ton of money. Could it do what this thing did? Probably so. Which one do you prefer? Which one fits into your life? I would argue that the Bronco Raptor is slightly more livable, perhaps, than some of those vehicles combined with the sort of capability. I mean, the Defender's a lot more livable as a vehicle, but can it do what the Bronco Raptor can do? If the Bronco Raptor, as sort of described, fits in your life, I think you would absolutely adore it, okay? For me, it's the money factor. I think this vehicle would fit into our family life with older children, not needing as much space, short commutes to work. I think this vehicle would absolutely fit in our life. Would I be willing to spend $120,000 on one? No. The MSRP, where it started in the 70s and Ford has raised it up into like the 80s range, at $85,000, absolutely. The Bronco Raptor is an incredibly cool vehicle. At $100,000, probably not. At $120,000, definitely not. So if you can get your hands on one and it fits your life, you will not be disappointed in the Bronco Raptor. I love this thing. I'm not sure if the price justifies it as you see it here. I hope you found that somewhat helpful. I know it's kind of a wishy-washy ending, maybe somewhat anticlimactic, but
if I had the disposable income, I would probably want this in my driveway. It's such a cool vehicle. I had an absolute blast up here in Nashville with my friends, going off-roading, just doing guy stuff. But the Bronco Raptor exudes presence and awesomeness. Do yourself a favor, check it out if you're interested. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video, all right?
Camera in your face.
I can see that.
This is gonna be fun to edit.
Yeah, now's the perfect time to drive your garbage vehicle past the house. I think there's a Pontiac Solstice breaking down just off camera. Thanks for that.
I'm a little hungover, actually.
I was gonna say that's probably the most throw up I've seen in a while.
Yeah. I mean, it feels better out of me than it was in.
That's
for
true.
sure.
That's not going in the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Dave signing off.